Hey everyone, my name is Nicholas. I talk movies on YouTube, obviously, and I'm joining Thomas's video today to talk about the 10 movies that we think should be in the Criterion Collection. We're going to be going through 5 through 1 in this video, and I'm very excited to give you guys the rest of my list.
Welcome to part 2 of me and Nicholas's two-part video on films we each believe should be on the Criterion Collection. If you haven't seen part 1 of this video yet, it is on Nicholas's channel. I'll leave a link down below because I highly recommend watching that video first before you watch this video. But if you have seen part 1 already, sit back, relax, and I hope you all enjoy part 2.
Coming at number 5, I think Dunkirk should be in the Criterion Collection. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but it is the best war movie that I've seen yet. Christopher Nolan is just an absolute genius when it comes to filmmaking. I think the way he told these 3 storylines, the way he intertwined them all, I think was done so beautifully. It is a pretty short movie. It comes in at about an hour and 40 minutes, but I think there's a lot of substance to it. I own the 4K of the movie, and I absolutely loved watching that movie in 4K. It's definitely probably the best 4K movie I own. The cinematography is beautiful in that movie. Hans Zimmer's score is also super great as well. And to be honest, the ending to that movie, I think, is one of the best.
Coming in at my number 5 is Klaus. Now, one great point that Nathan Hale Movies talked about in his video with Nick Talks Flicks last year was about how Criterion has not released that many animated films in their collection. And I agree with Nathan Hale Movies in that, like, it's a shame that Criterion hasn't released more animated films in their collection. And I think that Klaus could be a great animated addition to the collection. Klaus, in my opinion, is a modern-day Christmas classic, which has great characters, a fantastic sense of humor, and I just really like its unique take on the tale of how Santa Claus came to be. I also think that with this film's great animation, Criterion can give this film a much better master than Netflix could ever give it. But overall, I think Klaus would be a wonderful addition to the Criterion Collection, and I think that Criterion releasing it onto their collection can only help widen its audience.
And coming at number 4, I think Hereditary should be in the Criterion Collection. This is my favorite horror movie. It's very dark, very disturbing, but it's something very unique. Ari Aster, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Just the way he helmed this movie I thought was done incredibly well. Toni Collette was amazing in this movie. I know everybody says that, but it is true. She was super great in this movie. But there is honestly no other horror movie like Hereditary.
Coming at number 4 is a film called Honeyboy. Now, this film is based on a screenplay that Shia LaBeouf himself wrote as a part of a rehab program. This screenplay was largely based on his own life experiences, particularly his childhood as a child actor. For example, the father in this film, who is played by Shia LaBeouf himself, is based on Shia LaBeouf's father. And the kid, Otis, is based on Shia LaBeouf himself. Speaking of Shia LaBeouf, his performance in this film was absolutely incredible. Like, he easily gave the most underrated performance of 2019. I think he should have at least gotten an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for this role, because you can tell he put a lot into this role, especially since he was playing a figure, a father that was based on his own father. So as someone who knows his father better than most people, he was able to effectively portray the type of father that his own father was to him in this film, if that makes any sense. I think this film should be released on Criterion, not only because it is a fantastic film in its own right, but I also think that there's a lot of supplemental potential for this film. Like, for example, there could be an interview of Shia LaBeouf talking about how personal this film is to him, how this film is based on his own experiences as a child actor and his strained relationship with his father. Honeyboy may be far from your top of the list of films that you believe should be on the Criterion Collection, but for me personally, it is very high up there because I think this is a film that is very worthy of being on the Criterion Collection.
And coming at number 3, I think Dead Poets Society should be in the Criterion Collection. This is probably my favorite movie. It's tied with Finding Nemo right now, but Dead Poets Society is just one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Robin Williams gives his best performance ever in Dead Poets Society. He's super great in the movie. He teaches the boys lots of very valuable lessons. I just love the friendship that's developed between all of these boys at the school. They definitely go through a lot. They're very open and honest with one another, and it provides us with a lot of great scenes. A lot of them make me tear up. This is a movie that's just so special to me, and if it gets the Criterion treatment, I will forever be happy.
Coming at number 3 is The Florida Project. Now, in case you don't know what The Florida Project is, it is basically a film that focuses on the life of this little girl and her playmates who live in this hotel, and basically the adventures they go on, the things they talk about, and it also focuses on this little girl's home life, which is not exactly appropriate for a young girl her age. Let me just say that. And while this film was critically praised when it came out, this is definitely not a film for everyone. However, I personally absolutely adored this film. There are a couple things about this film that really stand out to me. For one thing, it's gorgeous cinematography. This is one of the most beautifully shot films I have ever seen. Like, you need to see the film to see what I am talking about. Just the director of the film, Sean Baker, does such a great job of making this such a gorgeous film. And another thing I really, really love about this film is just how real it all feels. Like, it doesn't feel fake. It feels authentic. All the acting in here feels authentic. And many of them are not even experienced actors. I think the only experienced actor in this film is William Dafoe. Other than that, most of them were not, I think, pretty sure most of them, or at least a lot of these people, were not really actors. They were just, or didn't have a lot of acting credit, and yet they all managed to give such great performances that feel so real and don't feel fake. And these two factors are a major reason why I would love to see Criterion release this film onto their collection. Like, it may seem like an odd choice to some, but for me, I think this film is more than worthy of a Criterion release. Like, just its gorgeous cinematography alone requires a Criterion release, because I know that Criterion will give it such a great master, like, more than probably the regular Blu-ray could ever give it. And I would love to see Criterion pick up this film and release it with a bunch of supplements and an absolutely gorgeous master, so that the film's amazing cinematography looks even better.
Coming in number 2, I think The Social Network should be in the Criterion Collection. I think a lot of people would like to see the Social Network in the Criterion Collection. You know, just from a screenplay standpoint alone, it's excellent. I think, you know, it should get the Criterion treatment alone just for that screenplay. But other than that, the movie is super good as well. There's great performances throughout. It tells a really intriguing, investing story, you know, about what led to the development of Facebook. And with Aaron Sorkin's screenplay, it just keeps chugging along, just keeps you invested in the movie, and I would love for it to be put on the Criterion Collection.
Coming in at number 2 is the second out of the 2 films on my list that Nick Toxflix also had on his list when he did this video with Nathan Hale Movies last year, and that is The Room. I'm probably not going to go as much in depth as to why I think this film should be released on Criterion, because I think Nick Toxflix makes a lot of great points on why he believes it should be released on Criterion. I basically pretty much agree with all of them. One of the main reasons I think this film should be released on Criterion is that the making of this film alone requires this film to be on Criterion, because this is one of the most chaotic film productions I have ever read about. Like, it's crazy to me, some of the stuff that went on during the production. And you can find out a lot of this by reading Greg Sestero's The Disaster Artist, which is an incredible book. Like, it details a lot of the chaotic production of that film. And some of you are probably thinking, oh, I'll probably just watch the movie. No, do not watch the movie The Disaster Artist. Like, it's not a bad movie, but it's so inferior to the book. The book is so much better than the movie will ever be. Like, because it does such a better job of just how miserable and just how chaotic production of The Room truly was. And like Nick, I also agree that there's a lot of supplemental potential for this release. Like, you can have interviews with the entire cast. Like, you can even have, they can even release the footage that Tommy Wiseau, I think's own cameraman himself, shot on set during the making of this film. Like, there is so much potential for supplements for this film. Now, I know a lot of people probably find it pretty odd that I have The Room as my number 2 film on my list of films that I believe should be on the Criterion Collection, but hey, I have no shame at all. Like, based on everything I just said, this film needs to be on the collection. It truly needs to be on the collection. Like Criterion, if you're watching this video, which you're probably not, pick up this film, release it onto the collection. I promise you, it would sell really well because a lot of people here are fans of The Room, including myself, and the Blu-ray release it has is so rare and expensive online. So, like, please release this film, Criterion. Just release it.
And coming out number 1, the final movie I think should be put on the Criterion Collection is Amadeus. This is also one of my all-time favorite movies. This is a Best Picture winner back from the 80s. The direction in this movie is phenomenal. It tells, the great conflict between Salieri and Mozart. The performances from the two leads in the movie are incredible. There's so many great and wonderful scenes throughout the movie, mostly, with the operas. And it incorporates the music of Mozart very well. It is a pretty long movie. It's close to 3 hours long, but you never feel the runtime. It always keeps you interested, keeps you invested, just because of those two performances and fleshing out this great conflict between Salieri and Mozart. If you haven't seen Amadeus, I highly recommend you go see it. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is a Best Picture winner, and I can assure you guys, you won't be disappointed.
And the number 1 film, I believe, should be released onto the Criterion Collection is Stand By Me. If any classic coming-of-age film from the 1980s needs to be released on Criterion, it is Stand By Me. What makes Stand By Me such an incredible coming-of-age film is the friendship between these 4 kids as they try to venture out on their own to find a dead body on around Labor Day weekend in 1959. And what's interesting about this is that these kids, like particularly one kid and the other kids, are on completely different paths. And this is really, I think, their last real adventure together as friends. And what makes this movie work so well is the incredible child performances from all the kids involved. Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, I'm blanking on the last name. Oh, and Jerry O'Connell. And also, why shouldn't Criterion release this film onto their collection? They have already released a lot of coming-of-age films in their collection, including The Breakfast Club, Dazed and Confused, and most recently this year, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And like most of the other films on this list, this film has a lot of potential in terms of supplements if it is ever released on Criterion, including interviews with the child actors, the director, which is Rob Reiner, and even Stephen King himself, who himself wrote the original story that this film is based on. And according to director Rob Reiner, when Stephen King saw this film for the first time, he left the room and came back and said that that is the best media adaptation of his work that he has ever seen. And seeing how well Rob Reiner handled Stand By Me, Stephen King entrusted Rob Reiner with directing another film based off his stories, and that one was Misery. And of course, Misery is another great Stephen King adaptation that I highly recommend you all watch. Overall, I think Stand By Me should be on the Criterion Collection because I can think of no other coming-of-age film that isn't on the collection yet that deserves it as much as Stand By Me. Seriously, it truly is an incredible film, and I would be really happy to see Criterion pick it up and give it such a great master and a lot of great supplements that a lot of fans like myself would highly enjoy watching.
Thank you, Thomas, for allowing me to be a part of this video. I had a lot of fun talking about these 10 movies that we think should be on the Criterion Collection, and I know this video is going to turn out great. Thanks.
No problem, man. It was such a blast being able to do this video with you. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I know most of my viewers already watched Nicholas's videos, but if you haven't watched any of Nicholas's videos, I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. He makes such great videos. He makes movie night vlogs, marathon videos, pickups videos, and so much more. And also, feel free to comment down on either mine or Nicholas's video on what movies you would love to see released on Criterion. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a great day, and stay tuned for more videos coming to this channel very soon.